Hi, everybody. It's Sybil. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Welcome in and welcome to my guys today. Hello, Damon Williams, comedian extraordinaire. How you doing?
Doing great. How about yourself, Miss Sybil?
I am doing okay too. I am doing okay. And Are Young in there? Hey, Cam, how are you?
Hey Sybil, hey Damon, I am Cameron the Christmas Angel today.
Aw. Well, we'll take that up with some people who know you best, whether that angel part applies or not. How are you guys doing? I want to talk to you because it's a little chilly here, yeah, where we are. It's in the 50s. It's really dropped. Um, and Cam, you mentioned just a few minutes ago that it is 0 or
Yeah,
thereabouts.
yeah. With the wind chill, it says it feels like it's 12 degrees in Chicago. So um, it's Damon. I know you're familiar, and Sybil too, being a Midwesterner. It's that kind of weather where it's so cold it just makes everybody ashy.
How
Uh,
cold is it? It makes
it,
everybody ashy.
Instantly. If you don't have on gloves, if you had on your lotion, your hands are like my hands are like off white. Like everybody is ashy today.
And you need some type of lip balm or your lip will split as well.
Right.
Yes. Oh yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
So, Damon, you know where of he speaks because you probably just came in from that. Does it affect you the way even more so as you get older, the cold weather, or does it is it just as harsh as you remember as a kid?
When we were kids, you could deal with it. You still want to go outside. Your fingers get a little numb. You come in for a couple seconds and run back out. Now I just went to take the trash can to the front of the house from the driveway, and I feel like I'm not going back out till spring.
Yeah.
Actually, though, we're about to get record temps highs next week. It's going to go back up. It's actually predicted to be as high as 60 degrees by next Wednesday.
Shut
Oh, we
up.
got the lake, boy. We got the lake with it.
Damon's gonna be out there on his bike again, Cam.
Watch.
Well, I want to give a shout out to all the folks, no matter where you are in the country, and if you're dealing with this cold weather, a shout out to all of the frontline workers from my perspective, thinking about the firemen and firefighters. My dad was one of those, and used to have years of frozen mustaches,
Oh yeah.
where because they're dealing with water in fighting the fires. The water would spring back on them in the cold air, and
Mm.
so he went through a lot of that on those numerous winter days. So shout out to all you folks who are out there on the front lines and doing what you do, and we thank you for it. And please stay safe. It is it ain't nothing to joke about. I was gonna start out talking about the weather, anyway, because looking at Hawaii, they're having record rain. It's a flood situation and snow already in the mountains there in Hawaii. Whereas in Hawaii, they have had as much snow as Denver has not.
Mm.
They've had like 8 times the amount of snow that Denver normally would have by this time, and
Wow.
just the weather it's just crazy wherever you go. What are you gonna do?
It's,
What are you
it's
gonna do?
time to come right with Jesus when it's snow in Hawaii and it don't snow in Denver.
Okay? In Colorado, that's how they make their money,
Right.
right?
Right.
They
And
send me here
Hawaii makes their money with us leaving the snow to go to them in the winter.
right,
So,
and nobody's
yeah.
gonna come to that because they could just stay at the house.
Can you imagine a luau and the women got on parkas? Nobody paid to see no fully dressed hula dancer.
Here, let me hold my fruity drink. Let me take my mittens off.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It is crazier. It gets crazier and crazier. Let's talk about what's going on in the news and as far as what's topical. Starting off, it's a very sad situation with a number of deaths. And Damon, I don't know if you've heard, but one of our colleagues in the radio business and the music business, Mix Master Mitch, our friend for many years from out of Atlanta, as well as spending the time on the cruise that he did with us. Mixmaster Mitch has succumbed to pancreatic cancer. That was the word this morning. And so we send the love to his family and to his friends there all over. And as far as I know, Damon, he was on the cruise just a couple of weeks ago. That was his final voyage. And
I just hung up from Marvin Dixon giving me his cruise update, and he told me about Mitch. And he said that when he discussed it with Mitch, he said Mitch had said, he said it's like he knew, and he said he just wanted to get one more cruise in. He literally said that, and then he passed away today. So that's very unfortunate. Real, good presence on the ship. I've always had good interaction with Mitch.
He was always the life of the party, and I'm one of those who really likes a good hug, and he was one of those guys that always just as a man you might not appreciate this, but he would just grab you up, and he was a bear of a guy, and so and his personality is big as his physical person, and so just a really nice and lovely person and talented too, and so we send our condolences to his family and his. And this is the crazy thing. He suffered from stage 4 pancreatic cancer. His cousin, Simon, also in the Atlanta area, is also suffering from that. And just you don't think about the family connections with 2 cousins having the same disease at the same time. But unfortunately, that is the situation there. So, and we send him all of our best wishes as well. And so let's continue this a little bit. I'm sorry, but Nick Cannon has announced the death of his baby. 5-month-old Zen died from brain cancer. And he shared this on his television show. They said the emotional Cannon made his announcement on the Nick Cannon show, telling his audience that his 5-month-old son, Zen, has passed away. He said things took a turn for the worse around Thanksgiving. The tumor began to grow very quickly. And he said he spent his last weekend in California with his son. And Sunday, they took a trip to the ocean where Nick held Zen for the last time, and he died soon after. Now, I have to apologize because yesterday, I did a story at the during the show about a picture of Nick Cannon in all of his cannonness. And so it was a D-pick. And so I said, that's perhaps why, he had to take a couple of days off to let this, if you will pardon the expression, die down. But as it turns out, he was mourning the loss of his baby, his youngest, 5 months old. That it boggles the mind, and a loss is never easy, no matter what stage of life. And so we do send our condolences to him as well. And Damon, I don't know if you know, I'm going to tell a little more. Came back from a funeral today, and Lou Calhoun, our friend and the talent person at Reach Media, lost a sister. And so that's an opportunity for you to see people that you haven't seen in a very long time, but it's a very young woman, her sister, and it was very sudden. And it's just, so this is why I've been trying to put up a video for the last week or so, talking about reaching out and making connections with people. I'm having problems with my technology, which is another question altogether. But I do, and this is something we'll talk about this week in our Jewels and Yogi's Jewels. But this is a time of year where you make connections with people. You reach out and you send cards, maybe you send a Christmas text. But reaching out to people you haven't talked to in a very long time. But also with the loss of lives and valuable lives in your life, this also is a time for us to think about reaching out and calling people that we haven't spoken to in a long time.
And I hate to pile on, but the comedy world lost one of our colleagues, my man D. Militant, Daryl Littleton, who was a historian of the business. Actually, he wrote a huge book with the history of Black comedy. So and his wife had actually reached out to some comedians personally and kind of asked us not to post it, but then now it's all over the place. So we didn't say, we knew like as soon as Sunday that he had passed away. And good dude. I mean, and like a militant brother, and he fought the power. He wore the Black Panther
yeah,
beret.
uh-huh.
Yeah, he was about it for real. So rest in peace and rest in power, my brother D. Militant.
And thank you. Like you, I had gotten the word and knew that his wife did not want it spread on social media, and so I had not discussed it with anybody. Without I didn't want to continue that, but I'm glad that the word is out. He goes back a long way with Tom Joyner. Daryl Littleton was a part of the weekend show that Tom had years ago, and D. Militant had the color of the day. He was black.
He was blackity black though, for real.
Okay, to the bone, to the bone. So we send our condolences. Just a really a sad time, and in this time of year, you don't like to see it, but you don't like to see it at any time of the year where you're discussing all of these things. So once again, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, if I could just, I know a lot of people kind of hate the holidays because you may only hear from that person, only around the holidays. But what matters is the intention. If your intentions are pure, especially in today's times, take some time out to really try and or rebuild that bridge, or reach out to someone, because you never know what it is that people are going through. You never know what it is that someone might need. And especially a couple episodes ago, Sybil, when you were just discussing battles with seasonal depression and all that, those messages and those cards can really help save someone's life, and it really matter to them.
Absolutely.
And can we get a petition started to discontinue the playing of "What Do the Lonely Do" at Christmas?
You're
If we could get that song banned from the airwaves, I'm sure it contributes to the suicide rate every year.
It's gotta be.
What do they do?
And so that's when you say that, I'm not only laughing at how crazy that is, that song at this time of year, but back in the day when Tom would play that on the air and we'd be in the studio and Jay and Miss Dupree, Jetta Jones would, what do they do? What do they do? Ah!
We got to put those are my hometown sisters, the emotions, and I know they probably get royalties every year.
Yeah,
but that song is contributing to the rate, I'm sure.
I believe that. I believe you're right, and God love the emotions. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
No disrespect to those talented sisters, but you're right. That is a song that, oh my gosh,
yeah, it really
or I don't know if you guys ever, especially you, Cam, I'm not sure if you knew about Elvis's Blue Christmas Without You. And that's just, oh my God, come on, really? It's just like, it's always in a bad Western too.
Absolutely.
A Christmas movie. Also, you guys are in the center of a lot of information and things that have come out about Virgil Abloh. The memorial was held in Chicago, and a lot of stars in the city to attend the memorial service. And I believe it was at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago. They said scores of celebrities, including Kanye and Kim Kardashian West. Rihanna was among those who also came in. Drake and Frank Ocean, A$AP Rocky, there with Rihanna. And they said that there were just so many people who were there who spoke, and it was quite emotional, as well as Lauryn Hill was there to perform as well, wiping away tears throughout. And all in all, the service made for a lot of waterworks, a lot of tributes and stories in Virgil's name. And they said that, there were a lot of people there who were just stargazing for the most part, not attending it, but knowing what was going to and who would probably show up.
Yeah, I mean, my sister's the real hip hop head, and she had told me the other day that Virgil really brought high fashion back into hip hop, and the folks that discovered him really just took a chance on him.
Mm-hmm.
No one really knew that he had this very untapped, beautiful mind for aesthetic that we see. It's really, I mean, the loss is really tragic. He's responsible for a lot of the looks behind today's contemporary pop artists.
And just on the cusp of just taking another leap into the stratosphere of greatness, you've just been tapped to head up Louis Vuitton's men's line as their artistic director, and this after his run of his own fashion house, Off-White. And so, Damon, did you ever have any of his fashions?
No, I'm more of a Ross for less kind of guy.
TJ Maxx, how are you?
I mean, I have a tailor who's been with me. He actually grabbed me when I wasn't able to afford tailored clothing and started doing all my suits for Comic View and all my television appearances. His name is Lamar Gales here in Chicago, Customs by Lamar. And so he would have probably had Virgil assassinated if I started wearing his clothes. But because he got West Side plug.
Okay.
These are all facts. And I'm not one for the couture, because early in my career I was really known for suits and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got kind of pigeonholed in people's assessment of who I was and what I was. So I have a much more relaxed style. But if I do the galas and the urban leagues and things of that nature and the cruise, I can get the formal nights and the dressed up. But when I do that, it's typically with Lamar.
Yeah, well, I don't know Lamar, but he does a really great job because you look great in a suit, and
Well,
I do like to see a man in a nice suit and tailored and all of that. So good on you, and shout out to you, Mr. Lamar. I'm a fan.
All right, West Side. Lamar, where you at?
Lamar Gales, right on Madison.
Hey, okay, yeah.
Okay, let's hook young Cam up with something as he is still in his courting stage.
Yeah. For your next date. And he does like the urban hip hop fashion as well as the suited and booted. So yeah, you might want to slide through that. I'll hook you up off the air. Custom by Lamar though, that's his Instagram.
Awesome. Awesome. The last thing I do want to cover is the trial in Chicago. I promise this was not my intention to make it all Chicago. But this was, you just couldn't help the Jussie Smollett trial. And this is this just takes it to a whole nother level. Jussie returned to the stand and he interrupted his own courtroom situation to make an interesting request that the prosecutor do not use the N-word and say it as it was written in Jussie's text to these guys that he hired to beat him up. He stopped the prosecutor, Dan Webb, who is not a slouch in the lawyer business, a high-profile attorney in the city of Chicago, in the state. He is a white attorney. During his line of questioning during cross-examination, flat out asked Dan Webb, stop repeating the N-word in its entirety while quoting messages Jussie sent to the Usendero brothers on the day of the alleged attack. Jussie said in court, can you spell or say N-word out of respect for every African-American in this room? You've been saying that word a lot.
Wow. So Dan Webb was saying the full word?
He was saying the full word to give the full context. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So he made a compromise asking that Jussie read the messages himself, which he did. One of the messages Jussie read himself was from Ambembola, who said, N-word finally made it just landing. Ha ha. After the cross and he stepped down, I guess they said, okay, enough of the N-word. And now the defense has rested, the prosecution has rested, and it's going to be up to the jury to make the decision about the allegations about his 6 disorderly conduct charges for what prosecutors say amounted to falsifying police reports.
So Dan Webb, is he a defense attorney now, or is he?
No, he's a prosecutor. He was called in as a special prosecutor. Wow, if I'm not mistaken,
he's like the Elliot Ness of like prosecutors. Like back in the day, he was an FBI dude, and he was high profile, a lot of corruption cases. That's really big for them to waste time bringing in Dan Webb for a Subway. A fake trip to Subway and a bogus hate crime case. That is very interesting. They really trying to get this brother hooked up. That's
okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought so too. I was like,
And then
Dan
letting
Webb.
the end fly too. What?
Right. Because I'm telling you, Khameron, when we were kids, Dan Webb was the man. He didn't look like the man, but he had a lot of power. Like Damon said, with the FBI and a lot of the state and federal cases, as U.S. attorney and things like that. So it was a big deal. And now he came back as a favor, I guess, to run this case as a prosecutor. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
so they pulled out the big guns for real.
Okay, for real, for real. All right, gentlemen, it's time for us to take a look at what's going on. And I will tell you, I love gadgets. I absolutely love gadgets, but I am probably one of the least tech savvy people you'll know. A lot of my questions that I have about technology goes to the white man. Hello, Ross Allen, how you doing? But when I can't get him in his years of retirement, I do have some folks around me to help me with this. And so I had a conversation about how Yolanda and I were talking today about how technology has really changed our lives. And it came about. I was in a car accident on the Dan Ryan Expressway one day. And this was before cell phones. And so I remember the accident, and it was a pretty serious accident, but they pulled me off the car off the road, and I had to go up the exit to make a call to call my mom on a payphone, because that's what we had to do, right?
Right.
And now, people don't even think about life before cell phones, and just how the cell phone has changed phone service, like public phones and landlines and things like that. So I want you to think about this. And what's the technology you think has changed your life the most? Is it the cell phone? Is it internet? Is it cameras? And when I say cameras, I'm saying not just for us to take pictures of each other, which we can do with our phone, but the use of cameras in medical technology, in terms of performing surgeries, or robots that are now performing surgeries, or doing whatever they're doing, acting as police. So asking everybody who is listening and watching, what do you think? And this is all based upon your assessment. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Just what do you think is the technology that has changed your life the most, or life in general, if you want to go there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm a really big tech head. Always have been. My mom works in IT. My dad worked in IT. My sisters and I had been like coding and installing programs since we were 2. And in the days
that's impressive, Damon.
in the days of dial-up internet, my dad always had this vision that he said one day we won't use cords to access the internet, and it's gonna set the world on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And he was always a visionary when it came to technology. But then we had like the little like wireless cards that you plug into your laptop, and now everything is just cordless, and it's allowed us to take the global economy everywhere now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to go with I'd have to go with Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Or wifey.
In Damon's case, yes. So Damon, what do you think?
Sybil, I'm gonna go back a little further, because of course, the internet and all of the Wi-Fi and everything we're doing now is changed all our lives. But personally, for me, when the beepers came out,
oh man,
and I was selling a little weed, I didn't have to ride my bike around hoping to find customers. They would just beep me.
Right.
That
on
changed
days
my
like
life.
on days like this, that was big. 12 degrees outside.
Hey, I'm not going fishing for customers. I'll wait on the beach. But of course, at one point, to give me and my son a bonding situation is when PlayStation 3, like when it got to that point of the graphics being so realistic, it not only did it change our bond, we played the game so much, it probably ruined my relationship with his mother, because I spent more time with him than her once that happened.
That's funny.
To you, I would love to have my house back. Anyway, you try losing a house over a PlayStation game and see how you feel about it. It's funny.
Okay. And the judge says, and why? And you say, it's PS3, sir. I love that. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking in terms of the price scanner. Manuel Murphy says on Facebook, the price scanner. I can't change price tags no more.
Funny.
And do you remember when those things first came out and people were like, how are you gonna what's the lines? What is all of this
Yeah,
about?
barcode.
The
Yeah.
barcodes. And it was but I love that answer. Can't change the price tags. Myra J says GPS because I hated pulling over to read the Thomas Guide. Myra on Facebook.
That's a good one, Myra.
Yeah.
That is true. That's
Definitely
true. And now you
GPS,
got
yeah.
people that are talking to you through your phone, through your car system, and telling you turn here.
And now you
I
have to.
said,
And now we have to explain to Cameron what the Thomas Guide was.
Actually, you do, and I pride myself on storing these random facts for people like y'all who think that I don't know nothing. But okay, yeah.
Well, I will tell you, years ago when, and I'm gonna let me read Shirley Ann Tony Davis first. She says, "Me too, Sybil. I don't like technology, paper and pencil person, and still to this day, in terms of taking notes and things like that, I will take notes on my phone, but for the most part, like when I'm writing a story, oftentimes I will do it by just on a legal pad and pen." And I've gone through all of the sessions. I've gone through, the word processors, all of that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, I still jot it down too occasionally.
so, do you
Definitely.
do that for your work on stage? Is that how you keep track of notes and things?
Well, I've gotten to texting myself, or I just text myself my little set. But if it comes to me right at the moment, or if I'm about to do something spontaneous like this, I want to do bullet points. It's still, look, I got a marker in my hand now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you go back as far as, well, you were talking about cordless phones and that, Cameron? I remember getting one for graduation, and it was a big deal to get a cordless phone. And my uncle was so proud to give me this cordless phone, and everybody's like, "Ooh, you can go out in the backyard and talk."
Right, you can leave your bedroom and go to the bathroom and keep your conversation going.
Yeah, and everybody wanted to do that, sure, or to be on the other end of that. Yeah, not so much, but absolutely. I mean, that was a big selling point for some people.
While we're on the subject of cell phones, you knew that you had a good one if you had a partner who had like free nights and weekends on their cell phone plan.
Ooh,
Because
yeah.
you could talk, and then they wouldn't have to say, hey, let me call you back after 9 or whatever, or after 7. Especially if you
Yep.
have free texting. My mom and my sisters used to run my mom's cell phone bill, and we still do. We used to run her cell phone bill up just by like texting and calling, and she would say, "We ain't got free nights and weekends. You can't be staying on the phone talking to nobody." And I wouldn't want to hop on the landline because I don't know who's eavesdropping on my
Who's picking up the phone in the house?
right, yeah. So yeah, free texting, free nights and weekends.
Free nights and weekends. Wow.
Yeah, rollover minutes.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Throwing it back.
And free texting and phone calls to Mexico and Canada.
Yeah, that was long distance.
and
Yeah, because
and
long distance was another issue. Go ahead. You got a comment?
Brenda Ray Brooks Perry, Zoom meetings don't have to be in the same place as attendees.
Oh, sure.
And that includes whether you're having a conversation and a meeting or you're being fired. Zoom meetings are really big in existence these days. You're absolutely. That has made a world of difference over the last almost 24 months.
Yeah, certainly. Even now.
Zoom stock.
For real. For real.
Yeah.
If you could go back, Khameron, and buy one piece of stock in some technology, Damon, and I ask you this as a tech and business guy too. If you either one of you could go back and buy one piece of stock for something that has just gone beyond multiplication of making money for this company and for other people, what would that piece of stock? What would be that stock?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you could easily consider Amazon retail, but Google.
You do Google.
Yeah, Alphabet.
Probably Apple.
I was thinking Apple too.
I would think Apple if we're just speaking about tech. But the number one stock you would do is Berkshire Hathaway. If you could
Yeah,
get
right.
that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Warren
that
Buffett,
encompasses,
right?
that encompasses everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. If you could afford one share of that, then that would be the thing to do. Absolutely.
Now
I
it's probably Bitcoin or something.
right.
Yeah.
Crypto.
I would think that I remember back in the day when George Wallace was the big money maker in the group, and he was always telling us what stocks and stuff to buy and things like. And I remember one, and I don't know why Cisco just stuck with me.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was the thing to get at one particular time. But that was one of those stocks that is, oh, you can't go wrong with. It's almost as if your grandparents were telling you buy GE.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get that kind of advice, and it's just how things. And I also think, because we do these stories, you guys, on prisoners that have been sent away for many years, and now they've been released because of the law, or they've been proven innocent or whatever. We just did one last week, and a man came out after 43 years in prison. Can you imagine? Not only coming out after all this time, but just how the world has changed in just your day-to-day living? People coming up and doing selfies with you as you're coming out of prison after 43 years. And because you do pictures, but it's a whole different concept, of just living from moment to moment. Everything is different.
Yeah, but fortunately for some of the inmates nowadays, they started to sneak in the phones, and I've heard even now a gentleman friend of mine, he's a comedian who is doing a stretch right now. Actually, he said they got the PlayStation games and stuff now and so he wants to do a comedy show. He wants me to come into the prison and do the comedy show, but he said it's been hard for him to get the venue because that's where they had the PlayStation tournaments and the video game, and we won't be. I'm like, what? Video games,
PlayStation tournaments.
man.
Wow.
You throw in conjugal visits, and you might as well go to jail.
What's keeping you from it? You got cable.
Yeah,
You got
cell phone
PlayStation?
snuck in, PlayStation.
You got your burner phones and all of that stuff, and
Yeah, but life has advanced in such a way. So even though,
Yeah.
and I've seen, people who have done long periods of time, and how they had the adjustment period is amazing to watch, because it's little things that we assume that they would be used to and would know. Even some of the features in a car, if you haven't been in a car in 43 years, you don't know what to do when you get in the vehicle and it's a touch screen. And
Right.
You can't turn on the radio.
screen
You can't
comes
turn up
up,
the heat.
and
Yeah.
You asking where you put the key. You like, what key?
right. Just push the button. Which actually goes back to my great grandparents' car. It used to be the push button, and the car would start up.
Yeah, you pump the gas and push that. Yep, that's back in the day.
Absolutely. I want to go with the cell phone and the difference that it's made in our lives, but I think that there are just so many options and so many things that have just changed life as we know it, and has changed over a period of time, and so quickly. I mean, just every time something comes up, you got your iPhone, you got your first iPhone, and then 2 months later you got iPhone 2, and and then now we're at iPhone 13, and people are just making their first payment on iPhone 13, and here comes 15.
So I would guess the ultimate answer to all of that would be the microprocessor or microchips that made all of this stuff possible. That's whoever the geniuses who had the vision to learn how to do all of that and to apply it. The fact that you can touch your phone and give it commands, the touch screen is an amazing thing that you can swipe and move and touch and expand, so technology, thank God we lived to see it, because we saw cartoons about it.
Okay. And we're still looking for our flying cars, but I really think that they are out there somewhere. But speaking of flying, Yolanda and I were talking about this too, and this is the Concorde is coming back.
Nice.
And right, and so the Concorde, Khameron, was this. I love doing that with your sister and Coy too. So, but now it's gonna be more affordable for people, because I remember working in Wisconsin and working for a TV station, and the Concorde landed at the air show, and it was a big deal just to be able to go up and walk through the Concorde. But now they're making it more affordable for everyday folks to go. If you can, fly from wherever you are to London in a matter of a couple of hours as opposed to 6 from New York or 10 from LA. But that's another thing, that air travel is look at Michael Strahan going up into space.
Right. Cameron, did you notice how she just rattled off those travel times from to London, because she knew?
Yeah, right.
It's 6 from New York, 10 from LA. But whenever I go to London now, I can get there in 2 or 3.
Yeah, and then get around and have nothing, no money or anything or place to stay, but that's okay. I'm in London on the Concorde. Yvette Y says microwaves have changed the way we eat and cook. That, honey, you're right. Maybe I should put that above cell phones, because it certainly has.
God bless the microwave.
It definitely revolutionized popcorn.
Okay.
Which is the setting for everything on the microwave. Yeah. Whenever you can't figure out how to work a microwave, you just hit popcorn. Everybody knows.
Yep, you can go from there. You can maneuver
one button.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that was fun. I'm glad that we were able to talk a little technology, and let us move on to the What You Need to Know newsletter. Obviously, this is our opportunity to bring stories to the African American community and to super serve them with our newsletter Monday through Friday. What You Need to Know. Please go to SybilWilkes.com and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Just give us your name and your email address, and we can go from there. And you get great stories. Like our young friend here, Khameron, talking and contributing a story about the Confederate courthouse. What, Khameron?
Yeah, the title of the article is someone left their Confederate collectibles in the courtroom. I can imagine that the court clerk probably hit that on the pager, and the judge was like, no. Let me go get my flag and my Robert E. Lee diary or something. But there was a Tim Gilbert, who was found guilty of aggravated assault, was sentenced to 6 years behind bars in June of 2020. But Gilbert's defense attorney successfully argued that because there were Confederate symbols on open display in not only just the Giles County Courthouse, which is in Tennessee, but also present in the jury deliberation room, he argued that violated Gilbert's right to a fair trial, and the Council of Jurors unanimously decreed that he was right. And I like to think of it this way. Also, not to mention, Sybil, it was an all-white jury too. So imagine, in the jury room, they're surrounded by they called it memorabilia, which I hope that we can just call it what it is. It's rebel paraphernalia. That's what it is. But
no, it's a lot of people's homes. stuff from just not even the basement.
Right. And so I imagine those jurors who were all white in this jury deliberation room. I mean, they might as well have just had Klan hoods on hangers just surrounding them, kind of reminding them, now you know what we do to black folks down here.
Yeah,
okay?
Tennessee.
You only vote one way, and that way is guilty. I'm really glad that he gets a retrial, and I'm also really glad that we don't have to argue anymore. That this Confederate stuff is just absolutely nonsense. Throw it all away, burn it, just throw it all out.
Or do what now they're doing. Just take it to your museum, but don't make the courthouse where you're supposed to get justice. Don't have that there in the background where people are making life and death decisions. Put it in. Create your own museum, and put that junk in there.
And certainly, it sort of correlates if there was a Jewish defendant and the jury room was full of swastikas, that would never fly. So they have to understand that that's how we equate civil war and rebel paraphernalia, as you put it. So it's bogus, and it's a good lawyer trick, because that probably didn't influence the jury. But hey, that's a sharp lawyer to say, wait a minute.
I got it.
I need the name of that attorney, because he is on the job.
Okay. Yeah, I'll figure a way to get you out of this, and we'll start all over again. Now, what happens after that, I can't promise you, but
we have a video of your client literally punching the victim in the face. Yeah, but there was a rebel flag in the jury room.
Okay. Well, think about this. Think about this. In the Ahmaud Arbery murder, the trial of Ahmaud Arbery, remember there was a lot of discussion because I think it was William Bryan who had a Confederate license plate holder, Confederate flag license plate holder. If it wasn't him, it was the man who killed Ahmaud Arbery. But that was a bone of contention because in the video, they showed the video and with the license plate, and that's why and saying whether they were going to show that or not. That really plays a big part in it.
It does.
Also, like to add that the jury deliberation room was named after this group called the Daughters of the Confederacy, whose job was to propagandize and really embellish the narrative surrounding the Confederacy, which is why we have so many people talking about, the Confederate flag means Southern culture today, is because this group, it was their job to try and have people remember the Confederate soldiers not as the upholders and defenders of slavery, but as honest, hard-working white people. When we know what they were. They were racist slave owners.
Exactly. So good job there, Khameron. And speaking of Black folks and what we need and what we require, civil rights organizations got together and sent a letter to the majority leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer, and telling them we need everything that's in the House passed bill. We need that in the bill that you are hoping to get passed in the Senate. Don't make any amendments. Don't take this stuff out. And one of the most important items is the child tax credit, which has enabled a lot of people to put food on their tables for their children. Those for families with children under the age of 17 and younger. So here's the deal. If you have a child who's birth to 5, you get $300 a month in this child tax credit. If you have ages 6 to 17, you get $250 a month. And for a lot of people, that $1,000 a month is everything. And that has been one of the things that they're talking about, because this $1.7 trillion budget has been the bane of the existence of the Biden administration, because they wanted double that in this bill. And folks like Manchin and Sinema and others have objected to the high price tags. But the civil rights organizations, the NAACP, the Urban League, Color of Change, they are very stern in telling the senator there, we need you to make sure these things are here. And especially when you talk about our children, because if it is not taken into the next year, we can pretty much guarantee you that our children are going to be thrown back into poverty in 2022.
Yeah. And I wonder why they reduce it for older kids. To be honest.
Well, I think it's the child care. I think that was part of it. But
I get it. Okay.
But raising children up to 17, 18, 20, 21, that's
more than babies.
0 to 5 is diapers and whatever, but that 6 through 17 is groceries.
Ooh, okay. Exactly.
Yeah, I call
Exactly
it a,
right.
like a mental health stimulus too. 'Cause,
Hmm.
I know I tried my mom for sure. God bless her heart.
Yeah, she needs that now, probably,
Yeah.
Cameron. Some of the other things, as a part of this Build Back Better bill that the president is trying to get passed, he was hoping to have it done by the holiday. They're still working on the debt crisis, lifting the debt ceiling, as well as Manchin. He's not really telling why he doesn't like some of these things. He just is just letting people know that he's reluctant to pass the bill as is. So he's gonna. But here's the crazy thing: all of these things that he's against, which are circumspect at best. You're talking about medical care and prescriptions and paying for that. He's pretty closely tied to the medical prescription industry. His daughter is the chief executive of the EpiPen company.
Wow.
And so, and he also doesn't like a lot of the clean energy plans that are in this, right? And his son is also is the head of a coal fund company. And so it's like, dude, you cannot. I mean, you need to step away and just,
Yeah,
just say,
he needs
I
to be
can't vote on
recused.
this.
Yeah, he needs
Yeah.
to be recused.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Dude, it's like how Damon, you posted this on your Instagram, how like they found checks in cash in like Joel Osteen's church. If
Hmm.
you pull back the walls in like Joe Manchin's house, he has like EpiPens and coal just like everywhere. Just like in his house.
Yes. And and they probably giving out EpiPens to kids at Halloween. Take an EpiPen.
That's why the
And
price
a
is
lump
so
of
high.
coal.
And a lump of coal. But this time, kids, I promise, it's not what it used to be.
Right.
Joe Manchin's literally Ebenezer Scrooge.
He is. That is just so bizarre to me.
Yeah, that's a deep conflict of interest for sure.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, man. So we'll see what happens. They hoping to get this done by Christmas, before they go home for Christmas. But Kirsten Cinema, nobody's even asking her, but she's like, I don't think it's gonna happen. We're looking into 2022. Like,
Yeah.
you're not even trying.
I think the GOP knows that the more people love to see a government that works, and when the
Mhm.
government doesn't work, they blame it on the president, and they know that stalling like this will sink Biden's ratings to abysmal levels, and
Yeah.
it'll prep the crimson tide that will happen in 2022 and
Because the
2024.
sooner he gets this done, the sooner they can go out and promote it the way they've been trying to do, and not successfully on the first bill that he got passed. But they need all the time they can get to promote this, because before you know it, the first primaries are going to be in play.
Right.
Not
And
to mention, well, don't we have the 2022 midterms
yeah,
coming?
that's what I'm saying. So the
Yeah,
primaries
right.
for the 2022 for the midterms is going to be. I think the first primary is March in Illinois, Damon.
And, and
So
and you would
or
think
Texas.
I mean, because a bill like that, once it is passed, everybody can brag on the pork that's involved. So I don't understand why they would pose the resistance, because it's still going to be a win, even though it's a win on a large scale for Joe. It's
Right.
still a win for the people and the
Yeah.
citizenry, and you
Yeah.
still need that to pump it up. So I don't know. It's going to be some very interesting commercials if that bill don't get passed.
For
Yeah,
sure.
that's what I'm saying, Damon. Like, like Democrat or Republican, when a bill gets passed, everybody eats, period. But
Right.
for some reason, politics has gotten so divisive nowadays. It's almost like it's just like petty now. It's like really
Oh,
weird.
for sure.
Oh yeah, they will spike themselves, So
Yep.
that's when it's so polarized, and it's so ineffective the way things are going. Everything gets dragged out and kicked down the road to the next administration, and this bill's been around probably for 3 presidents, and because Obama was talking infrastructure structure
Right.
in his first campaign,
Yeah.
so it's crazy.
And the crazy thing also, you guys, is that the stories that have come out of the Republicans who voted against these bills, and yet they're bragging to their constituents, look what we did for you in Washington, D.C. And nobody's saying, you son of a gun, you didn't do
Well,
this. But that's politics. And,
and that's those constituents. These are the
yep.
people that follow QAnon and Marjorie
They're
Green
still
is in
down
office.
there at the the
Yeah,
sixth
still waiting
floor
on
library.
old
Yeah.
Junior to show up.
Right, yeah. Yeah, not the proudest moment for the people in Texas and Dallas, especially. So those are part of the things that we're talking about in the newsletter, and also we have great tax tips. A wonderful CPA, her name is Katrina Kraft, and she gives us tax information and advice each Tuesday in our What You Need to Know newsletter. So please take a look at that, and we thank you for that. And once again, did I tell you that it's a free subscription? Yeah. All right, let's move to entertainment, and this is a food related entertainment discussion here, gentlemen. The first thing is, want to tell you about the world's largest edible brownie. Have you seen this?
No.
It
Is
has
it a special brownie?
20,000 milligrams of THC, and it's
Oh,
up for
Lord.
sale. 20,000. Tomorrow, we have National Brownie Day, and people will be celebrating by taking about a bite out of the world's largest cannabis edible. Was
Okay.
made by a team of 5 people, took a full day to complete. The brownie tips the scales at a whopping 850 pounds and contains, as I mentioned, 20,000 milligrams of THC.
And
10 milligrams of marijuana is enough to get you high, they say. I don't know. So a nibble of this is plenty.
That's all
Now-
you need. Yeah.
and where's this big ass brownie located?
I'm looking for the address on this, if I can get it for you, Damon. It is it's Bubby's Baked Infused Baked Goods, and it doesn't say the city though. Oh, I'm sorry. The brownie will be sold and distributed in pieces to medical patients in Massachusetts.
Like pieces
Ah,
this big.
Sorry. Well, a little dab of Dulia, apparently.
Yeah.
But some of the other ingredients: 1,344 eggs, 1,344 eggs, 81 pounds of flour, as much sugar and all of that. But most people are concentrating on is the 20,000 milligrams of THC.
that's a lot.
That's a lot, man.
All you
That
need is crumbs.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys go ahead. I'll clean
Yeah.
up.
I'll clean up. I got the crumbs. You leave that batter bowl over there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Don't lick this. No, Junior, don't lick this.
Right. Give me those
Gotta lick the batter.
mixers.
Yeah.
Michael Stallworth, he says, was that THC brownie at the Versus? Was it at the Versus? Good question, Michael.
Right.
Very good question. 3-6 Mafia. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Versus has been going through it lately between the Bone Thugs and fighting 3-6 and Shaka Khan drinking Ciroc. Because I feel like that's what happened. I think she drinks brown liquor, and they slipped us some Ciroc, and it took her off her square because she was wobbling on her heels. She was singing overall, "I'm everybody." What?
Spiritually sure. Yeah.
That was a good impersonation there, my friend.
Thank you very much.
I love your physical comedy, and sometimes you don't even need to. Just a little tilt of the head.
Indeed.
All right, so the last story we have is about, I don't know if you guys ever watched this. It's a big deal on the 4th of July, the hot dog eating contest. Nathan's Hot Dogs on the East Coast. You can find them in other parts of the country, but they sponsor the hot dog eating contest. And the guy who is the worldwide champion is his name is Joey Chestnut, of all things. And so he has eaten, he's scarfed down all of these hot dogs for years, and he's been a recurring champion. So now he's taken on shrimp cocktail. He can inhale shrimp just as fast as he can inhale those hot dogs. He has, this past weekend, guzzled 17 pounds of shrimp cocktail in 8 minutes. This was at the 8th annual world famous St. Elmo Shrimp Cocktail Eating Championship in Indianapolis. I've been to St. Elmo's in Indianapolis, but I didn't know about the shrimp cocktail. It was all captured on video. And you see him eat just as he has done with hot dogs. And he holds the 40+ eating contest world records, including a handful of shrimp and chomped down quickly. And he put away pounds of the dish in a matter of seconds. 17 pounds in 8 minutes.
Oof.
Can you imagine?
So there's a
and I love shrimp cocktail, but whoa.
Comment from Renita Bland asking what is his health like, and I looked this guy up. He's actually like he maintains a very healthy lifestyle.
Until he goes to wolfing down the foods, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like his stomach is like his instrument, and when he's not doing contests, he's running, he's eating healthy, he cleanses. He actually looks like the picture of health. It's so strange.
Yeah, so it's weird. Very bizarre because he's not a big guy. As you said, he really does take care of himself. So he's not grossly overweight or anything. And I just worry that, what goes in, how does it come out? I'm just
not sharing a restroom with that guy.
Yeah, because he barely chews. But see, he's going to be a study in the effects of hot dogs like Snoop will be on the effects of weed. Because Snoop constantly has weed in his hand. And we want to see how long Snoop can do this. And then we'll know if marijuana is detrimental or not.
Right. Exactly
and
right.
He's the skinniest weed head ever.
Yes. And Snoop spends like $15K a month on weed.
It's crazy. I don't know if he's going to be in Massachusetts for World Brownie Day or what, but it'll be. Or maybe he and Martha will get in the kitchen and make their own. I don't know. All right, guys, thank you so much. It's time for Yogi's Jewel.
Yogi.
And today, I was talking to you earlier about reconnecting and reaching out to people. Today's jewel is intentionally reconnect. Oh, I just lost it. Oh, crap. Here we go. Sorry about that. Intentionally reconnect with someone you care about. Maybe an old friend there, Khameron, that you went to prom with.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it right there. But intentionally reconnect with someone that you really care about, and it could be an old flame, it could be an old love, a first love or whatever. Could be somebody you're trying to get your house back from. I don't know.
No, the hell it couldn't. As soon as you went that route, I'm like, it has to be a relative, an old business associate, my former banker. My first lead man, but
not going the house route. Okay.
No, I got to keep my happy house where I'm at.
Okay. Damon, you have an anniversary coming up. What number is this?
6.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 6 already. Yeah.
Oh, wow. They got married. Well, you had a ceremony on was it New Year's Eve?
Yeah, New Year's Eve. Yeah. So the actual date is a few days before that, and then the actual ceremony is, so it was both. But yeah, it's time has been flying. We've been together. It'll be 14 years we've been together come March. Wow. And that's a nice little chunk of my life right there.
That's right. That's right. For somebody who's 30, that's a nice little chunk of change. Yeah, right there. All right, guys. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you soon. Aloha.
Good night, everybody.
Aloha.